Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I shall do for you first a song that I first recorded. Number one, it was a fairly nice hit, and it went quite high in the American charts. The title of it is Maybelline.
So, in 1980, Chuck Berry was interviewed in a zine called Jet Lag, and they asked him to react to some of the current punk rock that was happening at the time. His responses were very funny, so I thought I would just discuss a few of them here. If you don't know who Chuck Berry is, well, he basically invented rock and roll. He lived to the ripe old age of 90. Matter of fact, his last record came out soon after he died at 90, that he'd been working on for a while. Bruce Springsteen said he was rock's greatest practitioner, guitarist, and the greatest pure rock and roll writer who ever lived. Questlove said he didn't help define or was part of the fabric. He literally was the standard of rock and roll. Alice Cooper said all of us in rock have now lost our father. And famously, John Lennon said if you try to give rock and roll another name, you might call it Chuck Berry. Anyway, so they asked Chuck about a few different bands here. He wondered why Johnny Rotten was so angry. He mused on David Byrne's stage presentation, and he said basically that a lot of these songs were ain't nothing that I hadn't heard before. So without further ado, here is Chuck Berry reviewing punk rock records. Sex Pistols, God Save the Queen. What's this guy so angry about anyway? If you're going to be mad, at least let the people know what you're mad about. Good backbeat, can't understand most of the vocals. The Clash, Complete Control. Sounds like the first one. The rhythm and chording work well together. Did this guy have a sore throat when he sang the vocals? The Ramones. Sheena is a punk rocker. A good little jump number. These guys remind me of myself when I first started. I only knew 3 chords too. The Romantics, What I Like About You. Finally something you can dance to. Sounds a lot like the 60s with some of my riffs thrown in for good measure. You say this is new? I've heard this stuff plenty of times. I can't understand the big fuss. Talking Heads, Psycho Killer. A funky little number, that's for sure. I like the bass a lot. Good mixture and a real good flow. The singer sounds like he has a bad case of stage fright. And the final record Chuck reviewed for this zine was Wires, I Am the Fly. So this is the so-called new stuff. It's nothing I ain't heard before. It sounds like an old blues jam that BB and Muddy and I would carry on backstage at the old amphitheater in Chicago. The instruments may be different, but the experiment's the same. Thanks for watching.